Welcome to another edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. As Republicans push an unprecedented mid-decade redraw, Rosenthal has pressed for transparency and community input, especially after public hearings proceeded with draft maps, a move that alarmed voting rights advocates and local leaders in Houston. He argues that gerrymandering distorts the will of voters, dilutes the political power of communities of color, driving Texas growth, and undermines confidence in democracy. His advocacy situates Texas within a national struggle over redistricting norms as partisan actors test legal boundaries to lock in advantage ahead of 2026. For Representative Rosenthal, fair maps are not a partisan luxury. They are the precondition for responsive government in a rapidly diversifying state. So who is Mr. Rosenthal? Jon Rosenthal represents Texas House District 135, Northwest Houston, Cypress, and Jersey Village, and brings a 20-plus year engineering career in the oil and gas sector to the Capitol. First elected in 2018 after unseating a 12-term incumbent, he has built a reputation for data-driven policy making on public education, infrastructure, gun safety, and fair maps. He now serves as vice chair of both the House Redistricting Committee and the Select Committee on Congressional Redistricting, placing him at the center of Texas's high-stakes fight over representation. Senor and Representative Jon Rosenthal, how are you doing today, my brother?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, look,
good to see you. You're looking good.
You look great. I mean, I've seen you in a suit and tie. You just got off of CNN. I said, I got to speak to my brother a little bit and see what's going on, what you have on your hands in Austin at our capital. Sir, first of all, what's going on?
Oh, my goodness. So what's going on is, oh, my goodness. Where to even start? So here's where it starts. I'm the vice chair of the Redistricting Committee during the regular session. So for those who aren't part of the sort of inside baseball thing here, a Texas legislature meets for 4 months in odd numbered years. So January through June, basically January through the end of May, whatever. And during the regular session, this session, our Redistricting Committee did not even meet. We didn't convene. And then what happens? The felon in the White House, the convicted felon in the White House, calls the governor of Texas and says, I need you to find me 5 new Republican seats in Texas. So now suddenly it's an emergency item for the legislature of Texas to redraw the congressional maps. The governor and the president are trying to rig those maps so that the GOP can stay in power in Congress. So they have a very slim majority up there, and they're trying to hold on to that majority. And their policies are so unpopular that they know they're going to lose unless they cheat in the election. And so that's what they're doing. They're trying to rig the maps. And that would be bad enough. But the worst part is it's a racist assault on communities of color. The districts that they're going after, they're trying to draw out are African-American representatives, and they're trying to dilute the voice of the Latino community and to convert some of these strong Democratic districts to be competitive or lean Republican. And that's the true travesty of this, is it's a racist attack on communities of color to cheat to win an election that they know they're going to lose.
Now, I understand that they are basing these maps on the 2024 election, what they saw as the voter base, because one of the I think a good thing in Texas is you don't quite really know who are Republicans and who are Democrats, because we don't register based on party. We just register, and whoever votes in a primary kind of gives you an idea, correct?
That's correct.
Now, here's the thing that I have for you, Jon. I am wondering, and I sat down and I slept on this last night. I am wondering if things get bad enough by 2026 and they decide to redraw these maps where they have to actually now somewhat dilute some of your districts, this could come back and bite their butts.
It could. Absolutely. So if you remember, when we met in 2018, I was running for office.
Yes.
And, I'm the career mechanical engineer, left industry to run for office. I'm an anti-Trumper, and that's how I got into politics in the first place. And I defeated, as you said in the opening, a 24-year GOP incumbent to flip my district from red to blue. And this was in direct response to the first Trump administration. In the election right before mine in 2016, in that election, House District 135 in Northwest Houston was Republican plus 10. So Republican incumbent won by 10 points in 2016. And as a result of so it's a safe district for the Republican.
Right.
Nobody gave me a chance in 2018, but because of the backlash and because of the energy rising up, people trying to protect their communities and stand up for their rights, that's what allowed me to win. And so we went from Republican plus 10 to Democrat plus 2, a 12-point swing in Northwest Harris County. And that's why I'm sitting here in the Capitol building today. And
this is your what term again?
This is my fourth term. So I know in these elections as a complete novice, like I never ran for
in a Republican district.
It used to be, now it's a Democrat district.
But the question is, it's a Republican district, or rather, it was a Republican district. They're good. One could actually say that because you did such a good job for that district, they went ahead and they rewarded you, because I don't think there was like a hell of a transition in that district, was there?
No, the way that it went was, we should probably break this down. So when I won in 2018, and then I served in my freshman session. Imagine a guy my age being called a freshman.
Imagine that, right?
Just imagine, right? So that was in 2019. I was sworn into the legislature. So immediately coming out of that, of course, Republicans want the seat back and they're going to go after it. And that election was very competitive. It was a multi-million-dollar race. Republicans and their allies spent $2 million
to unseat you,
trying to get rid of me. And I shouldn't say I should say our allies, the team that we built, the coalition that got me elected in the first place prevailed. So they outspent us 2-1. I'm still standing. And so that was an incredibly contentious and competitive election. And then after that, we redrew the lines for redistricting. And that really changed things up, because all of the districts in Northwest Harris County were becoming competitive, and they decided to go ahead and crack and pack those communities. So me being the Democrat in that part of the region, they tried to load as many Democrats
in there. So now it's a decidedly Democratic district.
Now it's a decidedly Democrat district.
Now, let's getting back to the subject of this redistricting and what you're doing. What are your plans? I mean, I know you are one of the leaders in the pack to decide what's going to be done with respect to the gerrymandering that they're attempting. First of all, do you really think that Texas is sufficiently red to be able to pull another 5 seats out? So
first, that's a unsafe bet. The whole reason that I bring up the 2018 election and how I won in a district that was double-digit Republican favored. Those folks, if they don't have 10 more than 10-point advantages in those districts they're drawing, they're going to be in danger. And I would argue that people are mad, and people are mad right now because they see the governor and the Republicans playing out this political gamesmanship, this whole sham of a redistricting in the off season sort of thing, at a time when the people of Texas expect us to be acting on the flood relief, on the massive disaster that just occurred in Kerr County in Central Texas. 100-something Texans perished. Dozens of children lost their lives. Families are torn up. They're literally burying their children as we speak. And the governor and the GOP of this state decide they want to engage in a political power grab instead of actually doing what we need to do for the people of Texas. So I imagine there will be some backlash to that. And so some of those districts they draw might not be as safe as they think they are. So that's the first thing is, if they are able to pass these maps, and I promise we will fight that, we will obstruct them, we will use every tool at our disposal to push back and to really hand it. I mean, you will see Democrats in this fight. if they manage to pass those maps, I think everybody, not just in Texas, but around the country, will be mobilizing in these elections. You'll see a similar sort of nuclear option effort by some of the blue state governors. Democrats in Texas have been meeting with blue state governors to build up that firewall. Now, we can't ask them to redistrict their states. They have to do whatever they got to do that's best for them. But you already see those governors talking about it.
Oh, they're ready.
They're talking about it in New York and California and Illinois. And I met with the governor of New Mexico just this week. So it's a thing. Like if they pull out this stuff, if they go nuclear, it's going to be on. And
the interesting thing, and what many people don't realize, is the country has a bias towards the Democratic Party. And while some may say the Democratic Party is in the dumpster right now in the polls, etc., the values of the Democratic Party is what most people around the country have. So, I mean, it's interesting that you wonder if these guys really understand the hands that they have and what to play. Now, what are you open to speak about? What are the options that you're planning stepwise?
I'm definitely not going to speak about what we're planning because we don't want to let the other side know.
Got it. I understand. That's why
to hit them. But I will tell you what's up first is tomorrow. I don't know when this will air for different people at different times.
This will air before tomorrow and very early tomorrow as well.
Okay. So Friday, August 1st, we're going to have 10 hours of testimony in a public hearing in the state capital of Texas, where they are going to roll out this new map that they just filed yesterday. They waited till the last minute to file it. So the hearings that we had around the state to start off this sham effort, they weren't even showing us the map. And they kept saying, oh, we haven't seen the map. We don't have a map, blah, 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 whatever. The very next day they file a map. So tell me where that came from. Anyway, we'll have a public hearing in the state capitol. I invite everybody to come. I'll give you links that you can use so that people can submit their thoughts online. If you don't want to come to the Capitol and testify in person, you can submit testimony online. But I would invite people to stand up, fight back. So what we always say, I'm a political activist. What do we do when our rights are under attack?
We stand up and fight back.
Fight back. So come to the Capitol, call your legislators. You'll see us fighting for you. And what we want is we want to create an environment where those Republicans, they already know what they're doing is wrong. We went through 15 hours of hearings already, and those Republicans sitting on the front row committee are like this, and they're just on their phones, not paying attention to hundreds and hundreds of Texans standing in front of them to give testimony and say, hell no, we don't want you to screw up our maps even worse than they are already. And let me tell you, we had 1,000 people show up at the University of Houston for a committee hearing.
Yes, I know.
1,000 people.
People couldn't get in. Cody Poe, who ran for 127 a few years ago, he came and he didn't come all that late. He couldn't get in. He had to stand up on the outside.
Right. And we had the same thing at UT Arlington. I expect it'll be similar tomorrow in the Capitol. We'll do, my office is always a home for everybody who comes into the Capitol. If you're here to testify, you can always stop by here, or we've got sort of a hospitality space,
right,
room that we're setting up. This is kind of an auditorium thing where folks can make themselves.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but we want the Republicans to understand that what they're doing is boldly unpopular. The people of Texas don't want it. The one thing I want to add is out of that 1,000 people in Houston, another 600-700 in Arlington, another 200 or 300 in Austin. And we had one person come to the microphone and say, yeah, I want to do this because we want to keep Trump in power of testimonials. And most of them are, hell no, don't do this. There's a handful of, we want you to draw fair maps. So please do that since you have an opportunity. We know that's not going to happen. And then me and my team have combed through the comments online, 3,000 comments online. And so far we've run into about 3 of people that thought that this was a good idea. So let me tell you, it's just a partisan, political, racist attack on especially Black communities, but Black and Latino communities for sure. they want to dismantle 3 of the 5 districts that have African American
I
representation.
noticed that Al Green is pretty much districted out of his.
To make that a safe Republican seat with a very slim Latino majority, and that will be so it's going to be Houston, but it'll be attached to a large rural area that will completely dilute the voices of those Latino voters.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. But what I want to do here is point out some strategies that I wonder about. The big bad bill is really big, bad, and ugly. And the people that it will harm the most are the rural people in rural areas. It'll close hospitals in rural areas. My question to you, Representative, is the following. I want your party to go out to these areas before next year, when those things are starting to happen, and let these folks know that their particular current congressperson is actually the one that passed the bill that will lose that nursing home. In other words, here's what I'm asking you, Representative. Not you, I don't mean you, but is your team, not your team, but the mass of Democrats right now, are they doing the research on hospitals that are about to close, nursing homes that are about to close, and all of these, enumerate them, and then go out there, flesh and blood, whether they are heckling you or not, and actually say, you're an activist like we were. You were a part of the team at one time before you had to become a statesman. That's in jest. But are we doing the work that is actually going to do that out there in our rural areas?
I would say yes. I believe so. So certainly from my perspective, your Texas State Legislature, the House Democratic Caucus, and the Senate Democrat Caucus, we are hard at work at this stuff right now. We've staffed up. So what we did during the off season before we came in and at the before the session started was, as a caucus, we raised extra money so we could bring in staff that does research and messaging and provides us with some of these tools. So this is one of the things that Democrats have just quite frankly sucked at in Texas is they haven't been organized, they haven't been unified on message, and they have not used the tools at their disposal. So there's another side to that where we want to make sure that we're partnering with national partners and the Congress folks and their reelection campaigns, because that's part of how I got elected, right? A small campaign in my area elected Lizzie Fletcher, for those of your listeners that are familiar with the Congresswoman from Houston's West Side. We're friends, we're partners. And so we have to be building these layers together. There has to be unified messaging. It has to be informed by data, and it has to be properly resourced. We have to be in those spaces. We have to get that message out, not just in person. So we have to be in person in those communities, but we also have to be pervasive in the infosphere, in all these new spaces where between bloggers and influencers and social media platforms, where the Republicans have staked out an advantage, we need to meet people where they are. And if that's where they are, then we need to talk to them there. So it has to be all the layers. We have to be unified on message, and we have got to work this top to bottom and bottom to top if we're gonna win in Texas. It's a big hill to climb.
Look, as a mechanical engineer, as you being a mechanical engineer, myself being a mechanical engineer, both from the University of Texas, I have no doubt, absolutely, I have no doubt that you know the concepts, you know the math, you know the data. I really hope that you are using your expertise out there with the Democratic caucus to push that, what you know. I really hope so. Well, I know that you are. I'm a team player, and now in my 4th term, I've been around a few years, and at the beginning, I'm a fighter. I came into the legislature as an activist, and I still push those same ideals. You can look at the bills I file and all that stuff. But as I've moved along, I think it's become more and more important to me to be using the influence that seniority comes with to work behind the scenes
And so I'm part of I can't say I'm part of the caucus leadership, but I will say the caucus chair is one of my best friends in the legislature. Mr.
Well, I got to interrupt you. You are a part of the leadership, my brother. The fact that you're leading here on the redistricting is good enough for us to define you that way.
What I mean is I don't run for any of those caucus like a chair or secretary, treasurer. I'm not part of that hierarchy like that. But yeah, I'm part of the brain trust, and I work a lot behind the scenes. I help to run the plays on the House floor. So when we have strategy going, and we're trying to file amendments, gum them up, make them take hard votes, I'm part of all that effort. I'm part of the research team. So yeah, I'm heavily involved in all of that stuff. And if there's any place where sort of my skills are useful, it's in the data analysis part, and also, just being pragmatic about stuff. You have to figure out what works, and you have to do that. So instead of talking too much, people have to see us in action, I think.
Representative Rosenthal, what should I have asked you that I didn't?
You might. So we talked a little bit about the flood relief and how Texans want us to do that. This special session should be focused on relief for the families that are in distress, for putting systems in place to make sure that level of tragedy can't happen again. We've got this effort by the lieutenant governor to ban THC in all hemp products. We should have some sensible, regulation and tax it, regulate it, just like alcohol. But I think the most important thing to know is that Democrats are fighting for the people of Texas. And if you all will tune in, you will see us in the battle.
Representative Jon Rosenthal, thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thank you so much. Always good to see you.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.